I don't really know how to make this video, so I'm just going to sort of start talking and hope that I can make some sense to you. I don't want this video to come across as overly negative, although it is going to be a negative video just by design. So if you're not into that, you can click off now. I am genuinely very concerned for the future of Marvel Snap. Maybe I shouldn't be, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, but here is the crisis that I'm personally going through. At the moment, I'm pretty bored of the game. I have been playing now for almost a year, so a lot longer than the average player, of course. And it sort of now really hit me that the game is very, very samey. Now, partly this is due to Shuri and Red Skull, etc., being ridiculously dominant over the last 4 months. That is a long time to not nerf the most powerful card in the game. That's definitely hurt my enjoyment, but there's other things as well. At the end of the day, the game is very simple, and that's fine. I actually thought that was great, and that was one of the exciting things about it. It was simple, but still had a lot of depth. But at the moment, a year in, I'm starting to feel like, it is just simple. There are only 12 slots where you can play cards, and that means you can have a maximum of 12 individual cards on the board at a time, and that just does limit what you can do, and it limits what they can do with the design space. I feel like Second Dinner have really pushed it as far as they can go, and they are being quite creative with the new cards that they're releasing, like Kang the Conqueror and Galactus, but I don't know how much further they're going to be able to push that design space, and I am concerned. Not only that, but I think that Marvel Snap is really suffering from this sort of environment where nothing big ever happens. One new card coming out every week is great, I guess, to an extent, but there's never anything to be truly excited about in Marvel Snap. I gotta compare it to Hearthstone because it is the obvious game to compare it to, where every 3 months there's this big expansion where there's this explosion of new cards and essentially the entire game changes. That is able to happen both because A, there's just a lot more cards in Hearthstone and a lot more cards released regularly, and B, the limitations are much less. You've got spell cards, you've got secrets, they've got locations, they've got quests, etc., etc. There is so much in that design space to do. Not to mention, it turns out 30 and 40 card decks, there is a lot more you can do with them than the 12 card decks in Marvel Snap. And it's ironic because these are the things that initially sold me on Marvel Snap in the first place, and I'm now a year in, I'm feeling burnt out and I'm feeling fatigued by the concept and by the fear that there's not really anywhere to take that concept. Now, I want to be proven wrong. I'm hoping that Second Dinner come out with a new game mode, maybe some sort of draft format or some way of changing the game. I know that Conquest mode is coming out in June. That's going to be a much more exciting way of laddering than what we have at the moment, sure, but it is still going to be that same, 3 locations, you can play 12 cards. And again, these are all of the things that really sold me on the game and I loved it to begin with, but now I'm just bored of it. I think one of the other big problems is that there is no incentive to get to Infinite for me personally. There's still no leaderboards. There really is nothing to do except screw around once you get to Infinite, and I know that other content creators have been getting frustrated by that as well, and that is something that really does need to change. From day one, there has been no incentive to actually be one of the better players. There's no incentive to get up there and climb. There's no way of showing off how good you are except, making the odd tweet and grinding to 250 cubes, 350 cubes or whatever, which ultimately means nothing because you probably played a bunch of bots in order to get there. It just feels like at the moment the Marvel Snap experience is very vapid. You're collecting cards, which is great. You're getting variants, which is awesome. You're upgrading them. That's all a lot of fun. But as far as the gameplay is concerned, it's sort of, you realize that it really is just more of the same every time. And I didn't think I'd ever say that. Repetitive stuff doesn't typically get to me, and I know that there's other content creators that aren't bothered by this at all, but for me, where I just love a little bit of competition, it's just so samey. I find myself looking at Twitter at the latest things that Runeterra's been doing and Hearthstone's been doing. New Hearthstone expansion comes out today. I wish that I'd been buying cards and that I could play that because that looks like I'd have a blast with it, but unfortunately I've fallen behind now and I would have to spend hundreds of pounds in order to catch up, so that feels out of the question to me. I do play Hearthstone Battlegrounds quite a lot. That's free to play, and that always feels like a blast and never feels like it gets old or boring because, again, just one game of Hearthstone Battlegrounds is so varied and so different, and there's so many different things that can happen. And I just fear that Marvel Snap doesn't have that. And as a Marvel Snap creator, that puts me in an awkward spot because firstly, I do love the game still. Of course I love the game. I love that I've played it for the last year. I love Marvel. I think Second Dinner are great. But I feel like really, as the game is a mobile game, maybe this is something I should have considered before, is that it has been made for a mobile game audience and it has been made to function like a mobile game. They want you to keep coming back for really short periods of time and then they want you to peace out and forget about it. They don't want you to truly grind and get to the high ranks. They don't want you to be super competitive. They don't want these big tournaments. Maybe they will at some point, but at the moment that's not what the game's been built for. And I think maybe this is something that I should have accepted and acknowledged sooner. The reason that I'm making this video is because I have spent the last few days trying to work out what to make a video on next. I will do another unboxing video when the next series drop happens because those are always fun and you guys enjoy them. I will do another mystery variant video when I have several mystery variants to open because they're always a lot of fun and you guys enjoy them. But as soon as I start creating videos with opinions on the gameplay or hints or like, you know, I did my recent tier list of which card you should and shouldn't buy. I start to get comments like, stop telling people what to buy. You're making the meta even more limited. And again, as a content creator, for me, that's like, well, can't win either way. But then I get it. Like, you don't want the meta to be even more restricted because the meta is just Shuri Red Skull at the moment. And the more we make content geared in that direction, the more it is just going to be that. And again, it makes me respect what Binks and the other creators do where they're making different decks all of the time. Like that's cool. I don't know. I'm babbling. I wanted to make a video about Marvel Snap. I desperately wanted to make a video. I haven't uploaded again in a week. And it's just, I'm struggling to come up with stuff to upload. I think maybe I will be happier just focusing on the cosmetics and the variants and that kind of thing, doing more variant videos. You guys enjoy them. I enjoy making them because for me, as far as the gameplay in Marvel Snap is concerned, it's fun. There's just not enough there to keep me properly, truly invested. It's the reason I don't stream it. I don't feel like I could stream 4, 5, 6 hours of Marvel Snap and have a good time and stay engaged all the way through. I just don't. And it's a shame because I could totally do that with Hearthstone or Runeterra. Heck, even poker. Look at poker. There's no patches in poker. There's no expansions in poker. And yet people have been playing that game for 30, 40, 50 years and can't get enough of it. So there's just, for me, something not quite working in Marvel Snap at the moment. And I really, really want Second Dinner to find a way to make the game feel more varied. Because I'm afraid at the moment, the 3 locations, the thing that, again, drew me to the game in the first place, they're not doing it. Like, this location means my cards have 1 more power. This location means I get some rocks in my deck. This location mean I don't get to choose what my cards do on turn 5, you know? Like, it's not... That's not making the games feel fresh. It's just making the games feel restricted. I realize that this video is a little bit whiny. I'm sorry, it's not supposed to be. Again, I love Marvel Snap. I love what it stands for. And finally, I want to talk about the thing that drew me to the game more than anything, more than Marvel, more than the simple style of the gameplay. What drew me to Marvel Snap was the snapping mechanic, which is something that I feel like people don't really care about anymore, which is a shame. Again, I feel like the snapping mechanic could be like really intense, could be really interesting, especially at the higher levels. I think it'd be really interesting if you could snap, and if you could snap like 1 more time and double the stakes again, so it's 16 cubes, you know, to have a really high risk, high reward gameplay. But at the moment, people don't really care about snapping because people don't really care about ranking up, because people don't really care about infinite. Like there's a lot of people not caring about things leading to these mechanics not really being useful or meaningful in any way. I really hope that changes. I really hope that Conquest mode makes the snap mechanic really feel like it is the way that it was meant to be. But yeah, something needs to change with Marvel Snap. I love Second Dinner. I think they've done a great job making the game. They need to find a way to push it a little bit further, because at the moment, mark my words, continuing to release 1 card a week and not doing much else, that is not going to make the game sustainable, and it will start to drop off soon. I don't want to see that happen. I really, really don't. Please, like, yes, I'm being negative, but that's because this comes from a place of love. I don't want the game to drop off. I don't want to go to a different card game. I want to keep playing Marvel Snap. But as it stands, I can't make videos on the gameplay because the gameplay just doesn't interest me at the moment. I'm going to talk about cosmetics and that kind of thing for now. That's probably the only Marvel Snap content I'm going to come up with. until something changes dramatically. Hey, maybe Shuri being nerfed, which is coming soon, maybe that is going to be enough to shake up the gameplay. At the moment, I doubt it. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much to my patrons. I appreciate you. I'll catch you in the next one.